are you talking about? Oh, the plate is like this big.
Softball fans, welcome back to Here's the Deal. You know, I had Ches in studio with me yesterday, but I guess I scared her away. She's not here. There she is. She's with us remotely today, as is the one and only Allie Martinez.
What's up?
Hey guys. How you guys doing?
Look, I decided, Sarah, that I can only take you in person once a week.
That's fair.
I'm just kind of limiting my interaction with you.
That's what my wife told me.
I'm just hoping that, you know, your head remains the same size and doesn't get too big being there by yourself.
Easy. My wife said the same thing. She's like, I can only take you once a week. Other than that, you know, I need to.
I lost audio, Tyler.
She can't hear me, Tyler.
Yeah, I can't hear her. Oh, now I can hear Sarah again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we get a restart?
Just start that puppy over. I am gonna fight through the echo, so hopefully I don't.
Yeah, I'm getting an echo now too. Okay.
What are you talking about? Oh, the plate is like this big.
Softball fans, welcome back to Here's the Deal. You know, I had Ches next to me in studio last week, but apparently, you know, she couldn't handle it. So, oh, wait, there she is, the one and only Ches Severs, remote today with...
Yeah, I can only take you once a week.
You can only take me once a week? That's what my wife said.
Just once a week. That's all you
my
get.
My wife is like,
That's
I can
all you
only
get.
you once.
I didn't get that. Did you try again?
Oh, Siri's talking to me.
Well,
Siri
oh, hey Siri.
She wanted to be part of Here's the Deal.
Totally. Well, we have an awesome guest with us this week, Coach Mike Candrea, coming in from his family home. What's up, Coach Candrea? How are you? How are you doing during this time?
I'm doing great. How are all of you doing? That's the important part.
Oh yeah, I'm doing very good.
I mean,
All staying safe and healthy.
I'm sitting on a show
yes,
with
sir.
Mike Candrea, so I'm doing great.
So, Mike, we had this show would broadcast on Facebook, and every week people are asking about you. They're like, "You need to get Coach Candrea on the show. You need to get Coach Candrea on the show." So I'm so thankful for your SID, Danny, who helped coordinate this effort, because not a lot of people know it kind of took weeks for this to actually happen, for us to decide on a date and a time to make this work. And we're just so thankful for you taking the time out to chat with us. So you are entering your 37th season with the University of Arizona. You've got 8 Women's College World Series under your belt. You're the NCAA's season, softball season. Let me back up. NCAA softball most wins with 1,633 wins at the University of Arizona. Wow, Coach. And I think you, along with other Wildcat fans, are very excited for the returning class in 2021. You returned 7 seniors, including Olympic-bound Deja Mulipola. What excites you about this senior class that's returning?
Well, I think the big thing was just the way it ended this year. You know, we're having a lot of fun and playing quite well. And then all of a sudden there's this big black hole, and it was like we're getting ready to play Oregon State, and Laura Berg calls me up and says, "Hey, we're on a bus. Are we still playing?" And I go, "What do you mean, are we still playing?" And that was the first moment that everything kind of became a reality, that, you know, our season was in jeopardy. And I thought it was going to be a week or two, and then it ended up now canceling the whole season. So for me to get our seniors back, it's pretty powerful. Um, that's why you coach is that group of kids was just they're just a phenomenal group of athletes and great people, and to not be able to have senior day and be able to honor them was really kind of an empty hole for me, and so I'm glad we're able to bring them back and look forward to the coming season.
Coach, what were the conversations like with the seniors? You know, during some of the uncertainty, and then when the ruling came down, how did you handle those conversations? Was each one of those kind of individually difficult, or what was that like?
Well, it was. I can tell you that the probably the most difficult meeting I had was just going in and tell the entire team that that we were stopping play and didn't really know what the future was, and it was just like a morgue in there. I mean, kids had no idea what was going to happen. A lot of uncertainty. Um, didn't know whether we had played our last game, whether we are going to get a chance to play again, and then I gave it some time for it to kind of sink in with everyone because everything was changing daily. It seemed like we were getting different information from the Pac-12 and the NC2A and our administration, and so I thought we would just kind of let the dust settle for a while and then kind of revisit it. And I had quickly had a conversation with our athletic director, and once the NC2A, I did a little bit of politicking, I must say, to try to get the seniors an additional year. And once that happened, then it was a completely different conversation. It was quite easy because all of them, I wasn't sure, but all of them were ready to come back because, the one that I was concerned about was Malia Martinez was going to physical therapy school and had gotten admitted and was ready to go. And Alyssa Dunham had a job in Texas to start teaching. And so you never know how those kids were going to react, but it didn't take long for them to all say, hey, we're coming back. And we're very, very excited. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can't help but wonder if in the back of all of their minds was like 2020 was going to be our year. I mean, you guys have a stacked team, and I think on multiple here's the deals. I was like, Arizona, this is Arizona's year. Like they look great, So I'm wondering if that had the whole impact on their decision, or or a small impact, or.
Yeah, I just think it was just. I don't think any athlete wants to go out that way. Number one, not finishing your season. Number two, yeah, we had a good year going. There's a lot of good teams out there, and we knew the most important part of our season was coming up with opening up of the conference season. So it was just like a big black hole. I mean, that's all I can describe it as is like, what is going on here? And I've lived through a lot of things in my life, but nothing like this. This has been absolutely life changing. To see something like this occur in our country and around the world is just absolutely. I used to listen to my dad talk about the Depression, and I kept thinking, "Oh, Dad, it can't be that tough," But I mean, this is right up there. It's like it's going to change our culture. And so, what college athletics is going to look like down the road, I'm very concerned because one of the things that we've been able to do is have a lot of Zoom meetings and keep in contact with each other. But for some reason, they put me on a budget committee to look at the budget for the University of Arizona. And it's pretty devastating what this has caused. And will we ever recoup and get back? It's going to take a while. And so I think the whole look of college athletics, I'm waiting to kind of see what it's going to look like, 10 years from now. And I think we're going to still be talking about this.
Yeah, 100%. And you mentioned earlier, kind of allowing the dust to settle because, as you know, just updates and media posts are just being flown around every day. Do you feel like the dust is beginning to settle and you're beginning to see a clearer picture of what the fall is going to look like, or potentially next spring?
Well, I don't know if I know exactly what our fall is going to look like. I think the whole challenge right now, I do know this, is that we are going to have in person classes beginning in August. So to me, that was kind of something to celebrate. At least our president felt like we had everything in order to open up our campus. And that's going to include testing of all of our faculty and students. And I'm sure things will be a lot different. But my biggest concern right now, to be honest with you, is college football. If we don't have college football, I think it's going to really have a large effect on what's going to happen this coming year. But some way, somehow, you know, we're looking down the road in February. We're thinking, oh, we're in pretty good shape, but I really don't know. I mean, everything has changed daily, and I was really glad to hear Dr. Robbins say, number one, that the University of Arizona has helped to develop some testing, which is a good thing. But number two, that we're going to plan on in-person classes in August, and then I'm sure we'll take it one day at a time to see when we're going to be able to open up Hillenbrand Stadium and have practice the way we are so used to. I kept thinking
Yeah.
about God, the Lappin Center, our locker room, and the weight room, and what are we going to have to do to make all that work, and the way we feed our athletes. Yeah, there's a lot of questions, and the Zoom meetings are keeping me busy. To try to maybe solve some of these things, but I don't think we're going to solve them until we really know what it's going to look like in August.
Yeah, you mentioned that you're on the budget committee for the University of Arizona, and we had a staff writer write a pretty in-depth look at what happens to some sports if there isn't college football, and I wonder, to the extent that you can tell us, what changes do you see that might be coming budgetarily with football and without? Do you guys have that clarity yet?
Well, I think right now what we've done is we've kind of looked at the budget, and we are doing a lot of scenario planning. So um, we're looking at what we're going to have to do to make ends meet if we have football, if we have just conference games, um, if we lose one game or two games. So I mean, we're kind of looking at every scenario that we can, because I think the one thing people don't realize, though, is just how it's going to affect our student population. For instance, our foreign students, probably 70% of those kids will not return to campus because they can't get back here, and that's a big chunk of money for schools like Arizona. So I think it's right now just a matter of trying to think about different scenarios, and if this happens, this is what we're going to have to do. If this happens, this is what we're going to have to do. I know we're taking right now a budget cut. That is pure and simple. That 10% of our operation budget is gone, and then at Arizona, we're taking a 20% pay cut, um, and it varies to your salary, but every faculty member right now is taking a cut. So this is serious. I mean, I've been there for 37 years and been in the business for over 47, and I've never had to go through something like this. I've seen, like a 1% cut or a 2% cut, but when you're talking 10, 20% cuts, we're trying to recoup quite a bit of money to kind of make this ship keep sailing. And I don't know how it's going to happen, especially in schools like us, because our athletic program is self-funded, so we get very little money from the institution, and so we have to really depend on ticket sales and all kinds of things. And I'm looking around right now with the buildings that are going up. We were in pretty good shape before this happened in our economy, and then we were doing a lot of work in our football stadium and building a new library here and buildings there, and you're just wondering what's going to happen with all that. Our football stadiums, are we going to be playing games without fans? Um, I think that's kind of crazy because what about the athletes that are out there playing? How safe are they? Are we playing with half of our stadium population? I don't know, but a lot of questions. But I think each and every day I feel a little bit better that we're starting to see this thing turn. But I think it's going to be around for a while. It's not going to be like they're going to turn on a switch and everything's the same. I think it's going to be a challenge.
I agree. Coach, I mean, you've been around this game for so long, for going past even four decades. Um, Through all of this, what do you see as a silver lining, and what do you feel people should be learning during this time?
Um, well, nothing stays the same. I always said nothing stays the same. It gets better, it gets worse. And I think what this has done is really made people sit back and think um, what's really important in life. And I kind of look at it in a different perspective because I think part of our job as a coach is, yes, we want to win championships, we want to win games, but at the end of the day, have we prepared our kids for life after softball? And are they successful? Yesterday was a fun day for me because it was Mother's Day, but it wasn't just my mother passed away, and my wife's a mother, but I got a chance to send messages out to probably 100 mothers, and some of them are my former players. And I kind of looked at that as, you know what? I never really had time to be able to do that, but yesterday I had nothing else to do, and I'm thinking about all the people that I've had a chance to be a part of their life, and I know for me, I've always told people, one of the worst things about being a coach is that you spend more time with other people's kids than your own. And I've been through that. I have a son and daughter that I was, my wife allowed me to coach, and I mean, I was full bore, 100% into it, and I didn't get a chance to see my kids grow up and do a lot of things. And this moment in time has really kind of slowed things down for me. Life has always been very quick. I always talk about when I was in high school, summers took forever. It seemed like they would never end. Where once you start having a profession and being passionate about it, time flies. And that was the one scary thing about me when I was coaching the Olympic team is, you know, one moment I look up and 9 years of my life had gone by, and I mean, it was like a blink of the eye. And this time right now has got back to slowing life down a little bit. And, I think hopefully it will allow the players to realize how special it is to just be able to play this game and kind of reevaluate what's really important. And so um, there's some good that comes out of everything. And I think that's one of the things that I've found here is just more of an appreciation of the game, and for me to be able to sit around and look at God, look how where this game's come. And I mean, I'm sitting there with you guys. 10 years ago we wouldn't have this conversation. No one really cared, and
Yeah.
and now the game's in such good hands. It's growing. It's. I think next year with all these seniors coming back, damn, we're going to have some good softball. I mean, there's going to be some very good softball teams, and I'm
Some
excited
damn
about
good
that.
softball. Mhm.
Yeah, but the game's in such good shape. I hate to see it stop. I really do. I hope we can regain that momentum that we've had, and with the Olympics coming back and how excited we were to go back to Tokyo and hopefully get that damn gold medal back to the USA where it belongs. I mean, there's a lot of things that were had a chance to sit around and think about, but it was tough to see everything kind of stop. And so I hope we can get back to a little bit of normalcy. I doubt if it will. It's going to take a lot longer than what we think. But this game is wonderful, and I'm still getting a lot of kids. It's kind of funny. You look at some of the innovative things kids are doing now, and they're getting on Zoom and having these open meetings that they want to be able to describe themselves. I think recruiting is going to change. I think how we communicate is going to change, and maybe this is kind of the beginning of it.
Yeah, you mentioned recruiting and just the change in communication overall. We're all doing this over Zoom, and
Yep.
how has this changed your recruiting? You have 9 incoming freshmen. What's the communication like with them? What's the communication with
Well,
recruits who are committed to Arizona?
well, the only thing that we can do, we've been in a dead period, so the only thing that we can do is really just try to stay in contact with the players that we have, the players that are coming in, our 2021s, and then, you just kind of look at what's going on around the country right now. There's not any softball being played, so I think everyone's just kind of waiting, kind of salivating for that day when they kind of open it up, and we're kind of waiting to see what it's going to look like. And I've kind of been following that. Texas is kind of doing their own thing, and maybe you're going to see more of that localized play again, to eliminate some travel and um, some situations that we're going to probably have to try to stay away from. But I'm just kind of waiting for the day for it to happen, and trying to be prepared for it. Um, we're we're very excited about the seniors coming back, and then we had 8 freshmen coming in, and I knew that was going to cause some people to sit around and think a little bit. And one of the things this time gave was for probably some players to sit around and think and say, "What God? What's my future going to look like?" And so I've been able to kind of work through that with some of them. And we had like 5 kids on the portal. I don't like that. I mean, I don't like losing any kid. But this situation had kind of made some sense to some kids, saying, "You know what? You may want to look somewhere else and reach that dream, because it's another year, and if you weren't playing last year, you're not going to probably play this next year. So what can we do to help you? What can we do to help you?" And I think it's been really good, um, to have the time to be able to help each of these kids and try to find places for them that they can play, because every kid wants to play. I mean, no one grows up as an athlete not wanting to play. And um, so we were very happy that our senior class could come back, but I also knew that it was going to cause some other issues, because you cannot have 27 kids on a roster. It just doesn't work in softball. And
Mm.
and so we've been able to get through that, and hopefully these young ladies will land somewhere where they can be taken care of and continue their dreams, and time will go on. Um, and for me, I'm on the tail end of my career, so it's I'm itching to get back, because you don't realize how much you miss something until you don't have it. And that's something that I've always had. I mean, I've since I was 4 years old, I've been on a baseball or softball field. This is the first time that I've been on a damn golf course every day, and realizing that I need to go back to work, because golf ain't going to cut it. But it's a very challenging game. Keeps you humble. But I used to tell people I'd come up here every year and debating whether I was going to retire or not. And so I'd come up here and I'd play golf. I'd play for like 2 weeks straight, and at the end of those 2 weeks, I would decide whether I'm getting close to retirement or not. And I always said no, because my golf game got worse as I played more. I said, if this is what I got to do, I might as well keep working.
So
Coach, I was
life changing, but it hasn't changed your golf game.
Well, no. See, golf is one of those games that I expect to be a lot better than what I am. And as you get older, it just doesn't work. I played with my son-in-law yesterday, and he's very strong and very flexible and hits the holy piss out of the ball. And as I get older, my distance is getting shorter and shorter, and it's like, God, the things that used to be easy are not easy anymore.
Coach, I was actually
So,
going to ask you, you're saying with, this time people are able to, think things through or try new things. Have you picked up any new hobbies? I know you mentioned, you've been golfing a lot, but is there anything new that you've been doing around the house?
well, I've been able to do a little bit of barbecuing, and so I've got a played around with it. I've had a green egg up here for a couple of years. I used it once, so I've been able to kind of play with that. I actually did some pulled pork the other day.
Nice.
Put it on about 9 o'clock in the morning. Went and played a round of golf. Came back, took it off, and it was absolutely great. So yeah,
Nice.
but just really, I mean, I was on some Zoom calls today, and you look at the week. My mornings are pretty full of meetings, and I think our administration's done a really good job of keeping people abreast on what's going on. And we're trying to do the same thing with our athletes because that's about all we can do. So that's about my hobbies right now is cooking and playing golf and piddling around the yard.
That sounds like a good time.
It's like Groundhog Day every day.
Yeah.
And I got to watch some movies. I've watched more movies in the last 3 weeks than I watched in my life.
What's the best movie you've watched in quarantine?
Oh gosh. Well, there's the one that I watched about a walk-on at Arkansas football player. I'm trying to think of the name of it, and that's what the bad part is. I can't think of the name of it. But he was a walk-on, and became a All-American, actually, and that true story. And then he got killed right after.
I know exactly.
It's
Um,
I can't think of the name. Then I watched one yesterday about this pandemic thing that made me. It was 1995, and everything we're going through. I'm going, oh my god.
Yeah.
This is
I did watch Pandemic. It didn't help my
Yeah?
situation.
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
I mean, I found it really interesting that documentary was shot like probably over a year ago. It's basically predicted what's kind of happening now, which is so eerie.
Right.
Yeah, I've tried to shut off the news lately. It's just information overload, and at some point we got to live our lives.
Yeah, I got to that point. I know exactly what you're talking about because I was like on Fox News every day waiting for the president to give us his little talk, and after a while, I was like, I got to quit doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I'm glad that's all kind of slowed down a little bit, and it was, it is what it is right now, and it's just I never would have dreamed of what we're doing. I mean, I would
Right.
never would have dreamed that restaurants would be closed and churches are closed. I mean, our pastor at our church sends us the mass every Sunday, and we get to watch it. And it's like, gosh,
Yeah, and at this time, I think you would be preparing for a super regional.
yeah,
Do I have that
yeah,
right?
you have that right. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, graduation's happening right now. We're going to have a virtual graduation ceremony with our student athletes Thursday this week. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, there's a lot of things every week is kind of like, God, we would have been here, we would have done this. And yeah, it's been sad, but
Yeah.
people like you guys, at least keep the game going. And I really commend you for doing that because people right now are just dying for softball, and
Yeah.
and so whatever you can do to give them a little glimpse of hope that we're going to be back playing the game, and I hope the Olympics go. That's the other question is, we don't even know whether Tokyo is going to be ready in 21. So many unknowns. I'm not smart enough to figure them all out, so I live day by
Same.
day and get up in the morning and kind of keep my routine going a little bit. Try to figure this golf game out a little bit too.
Well, let us know when you get that figured out.
Yeah, right. I don't think that'll ever happen. Don't
Yeah.
ever happen.
Well, Coach, we are so thankful for your time and glad that you are well and with family. And
Thank,
thanks for joining us today.
absolutely, it's always a pleasure, I just want to thank you guys for what you do, and you are making a difference in our sport. And I always tell people, they always say, "What was the biggest boost for college softball?" And I always said it was television. Um, I remember when ESPN used to do one game, you'd have to make it to the championship to be on TV, and then pretty soon it was every game, and then the '96 Olympic Games came in and kind of gave us a shot in the arm, and this sport has absolutely grown since then. And I think a lot of it is just the social media platforms now that we have, the good stuff. Not back in the days when you had people just ripping on everything. Wasn't
Yeah.
fun, but you guys do good stuff, and the productions that you do, more games on TV, um, the more interested people are going to become. Because I always tell people, if you come to one softball game, I will get you hooked. Because as a baseball purist, I have a hard time watching baseball now because this game is so damn good. It's so quick. It's played at such a high level, and so I always tell people, if you've never seen a fast pitch game, come out one time and I'll get you hooked. And that's half of our fan base is like that. Because I always tell them, man, if you don't want to buy a ticket, call me up. I'll give you a ticket. And once I give them a ticket, then they're buying season tickets. So everything that you guys do is very powerful, and there's a lot of things coming down the pipe with the athletes and their name, image, and likeness. And I just can't wait 10 years from now what it's going to look like. Not that I will probably be around 10 years from now, but I think the sport is, in my eyes, it's one of the top sports that the NC2A has, and it's getting more and more popular. So good people in it, good athletes in it, and we appreciate what you do.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you,
Thanks for the kind
Coach.
words. We appreciate it.
You got it. Take care.
You too.
Bye, Coach.
Bye bye.
What a gem.
What a gem, right?
Yeah,
Man,
man.
I was just sitting there soaking in the wisdom. I was just, tell me more.
Same.
Tell me more. I did. I was just like, we don't have to say anything else the rest of the show. He can just keep talking and imparting his
Right,
wisdom
I know.
over his 47-year career. I don't have to say anything. What am I going to add to that? Right?
No salt needed.
Yeah, no salt needed. No salt needed for Mike Candrea. That was a treat.
Wow. That was
I'm like
a real
still,
treat.
What'd you say?
And
I'm still in awe right now from that whole conversation. That you just, all that wisdom for sure.
he's a special coach.
Yeah,
All right, what's next? Oh, go ahead, Sarah.
I'm just in awe. I'm just in awe. I thought he said some interesting things. That I think that was the first confirmation we heard from somebody about a school, students being back on campus in August. That's the first I'd heard. So that's good news. I'd suppose. He did mention the athletes benefiting from their likeness that we didn't even get to dig into, which is another interesting topic. So, and he's sitting on the budget committee for the University of Arizona. So the insight that he has, and he was talking about football, and he was talking about having impact on 10 years out on college athletics, right? Like there's a lot of scenarios that they have to play out, and it's that was a fascinating conversation.
Lots to unpack there, and I'm sure over the next several months, more of that will be revealed in terms of how universities are going to address some of these budget issues. And obviously, football still being unknown, I'm sure they're coming up with all kinds of different scenarios on how they could kind of recoup all the money that will be lost. And one interesting point that he made too was the number of students not returning and how that affects overall how the university brings in money. I mean, that's a huge chunk of change just not available.
Yeah, the international
Because
students.
athlete doesn't want to, but they can't travel with the restrictions.
Something we didn't even talk about, how that impacts the bottom line of these universities. Yeah, extremely insightful conversation. That was a treat.
Absolutely. Well, can I go on to what's next?
Yes, I'm sorry. I felt like I needed to like
Okay.
digest that with you all. I couldn't just go on to what's next. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yes, what's
I
next?
appreciated you saying that. We're usually on a time constraint here, and we're not right now. Anyways, we've got 2 new episodes dropping this week on the Ches Show. One with Lincoln Martin. He's been an MLB scout for the Astros and the Marlins. He also has worked with some of the top softball athletes that we've seen, Skylar Wallace being one of them at the University of Alabama. And we have, speaking of Alabama, we're going to have an episode with incoming freshman for Alabama, Bailey Dowling. We ranked her the number 3 recruit in the country. And I don't know if you guys know this, but with her softball season being canceled this past season, she misses the opportunity of breaking the national home run record. She was 11 away from breaking it, and we kind of get into that whole conversation. So I highly recommend that you guys watch those. And if you haven't watched the Danielle Laurie episode, you are missing out on. It's the best episode. Sarah, if you haven't watched it, you should watch it. I know Allie's watched it.
I watched it. She's
Did you?
shooting straight from the hip. Like, it was awesome. It was just raw, uncut. Like, it was amazing. Loved it.
Yeah, so definitely catch that, folks, if you haven't. And we're going to be booking some really great guests continuing on through June. So I look forward to those conversations. And we got the Judy Garman rebroadcast this week and FloSoftball 24/7. Just bringing you all the softball goodies.
All the softball. Until it returns, 24/7, we got your softball.
Awesome. Well, we will see you guys on Wednesday.